Shadow Kingdra gonna look to overfarm before firing off the Surf, looking to remove Typhlosion from the field of play. Down goes Typhlosion. The opponent sends out Zekrom, looking for the farm down, unable to get it before the Outrage is reached. We YOLO the nuke. Does the opponent respect the damage? Unfortunately, they do, but it's time to give the opponent that wham bam combo play. Fire off the Brave Bird. Welcome back to the channel. This season, once again, Kingdra got buffed. A few seasons ago, it gained access to Swift. This season, it gained access to Surf. Ironically, Swift and Surf is not the moveset I am running. Do I really need to answer why? Is Swift going to give us any big boom action? No, it isn't. But now most people run that as a recommended moveset. Trust me when I tell you, we're going to land outrages left, right, and centre. Team partners today are going to be my perfect 14, 15, 15, rank 1, best buddy boosted Shadow Talonflame. Finally running Incinerate. We've shown this on the channel previously. We did try Peck when it was buffed, but today we're going with that legacy move Incinerate. Rounded out today's team, we've got Lapras. And if I'm being brutally honest why, the first two team members had best buddy badges, so I thought, fuck it, why not flex 3 best buddy badges and head to battle? With all that being said, without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we've got Shadow and Shadow Crime, with Shadow Talonflame staring down the Steel Penguin. If I had Flame Charge, I'd probably be able to just boost my way through it. To be honest, look at the Shadow Incinerate damage, it is absolutely disgusting. I actually ended up wasting a bucket of TMs to give my Talonflame Brave Bird, just for the memes, so I think it's going to make objectively better content, and I'll let you be the judge of that. We force our Protect Shield back, make the pivot into Lapras, baiting out Annihilate. This is by no means a good matchup for my opponent. The sideways, hitting for super effective, will leave the opponent incredibly low. This is actually like a best case scenario for me, as it means we're going to get one further Incinerate, and Talonflame once again has that Brave Bird bank. The opponent likely send back out Empoleon, look to play to CMP. I'm more than happy to take the extra, as I recognise I'm going to have to fully Incinerate farmer down. The opponent recognise they're going to get farmed down, send out Moltres, and I'm going for a cheeky masturbating session. Never bait, often, sometimes. Jamie Finn is the best masturbator in the world. Fly, force the Protect Shield, Brave Bird, almost a one-hit KO, quick snipe with some Dragon Breaths. The opponent doesn't want that smoke, and they concede the match. So many people say that Ultra League is slow, boring and bulky, but honestly running this team, battles a flyby. To be honest, most of them are about as quick as that first one. In the next battle, we see a terrible lead. I say switch into Lapras that also has a losing matchup. The opponent decides to save Gelatin, keeping it around for Talonflame, and send out Corviknight. Corviknight going to be greeted with the Sparkling Aria, which I like to call Sparkling Aureas. I just think it sounds better, so we're going to rock with that for the remainder of the video this time. I fire off the Ice Beam, recognising I've approached payback range. I'm looking to get off as much damage as possible. I'm sure most of you know I don't do all this simulation nonsense. I head to battle and try and figure it out. But my thought process here is, if I can get Corviknight to not fire for charge against Talonflame, worst case scenario, we can probably survive a Surf. However, as we've got 2 shields, I don't actually need to figure that out just yet. The opponents re-switch locked themselves, so you know what? I'm going to either force my Protect Shield back or do monstrous damage. We fire off the Brave Bird. Brave Bird, almost a one-hit KO. Once again, Kingdra able to snipe down, and we are looking very, very good in this battle. Out comes Zygarde. The opponent already been nuked once. We are YOLOing the nuke again. Does the opponent respect the damage? The opponent fucks about. They find out, and that is going to be all she wrote. Oof, oh baby, we are cooking today. Speaking of cooking, we are quite literally about to cook that stupid Tinkaton Tinkaton. The opponent save switches into Seismitoad. I'm more than happy to tank one charge move in exchange for energy before sending out Kingdra. I'm essentially just throwing Kingdra away, to be honest. Switch advantage isn't all that important. Lapras, despite using Psywo as a quick move that's resisted, actually has a decent matchup into Tinkaton. I'm going to YOLO the Outrage. Outrage, even at -1. That is another boom. Get that Seismitoad off my screen. Kingdra still pretty healthy. We might be at -1, but we've got plenty more damage to output here. We fire off the first Surf. If the opponent looks to fully Fairy Wind farm me down, we'll reach one more. Kingdra going to fire off yet another Surf, putting the opponent lower and lower. The opponent already finds himself down to around a third health. The opponent instantly retreats, sending out Zygarde, and once again, we are YOLOing the Brave Bird. Does the opponent finally respect the damage? They do not, and to be honest, that's quite disappointing. Fucking hell, this Zygarde is so bloody bulky. Whilst we see this boring matchup play out, let's talk about my team composition today. Clearly, I'm ABA weak to Electric, and even Kingdra isn't all that good into Electric, taking neutral. So you might ask yourself, why am I running this team? Well, that's the reason why. Because Zygarde is so bloody common. It is very, very difficult to run electric types. They really aren't that common. Day one, I was running Ampharos, and to be honest, I got absolutely clapped. Hence my starting elo in this video is like 21.35 or something like that. As always, we've gone off on a mad tangent, so returning to the commentary, we find ourselves a fantastic lead, and once again see a Seismitoad safe switched. Apparently everyone's on the Seismitoad hype train. If I'm being brutally honest, regardless of what team composition I've ran, I think this thing is so underwhelming in the Ultra League, where Pokemon are pretty bulky, non-stab Icy Wind just doesn't cut it. Whilst it does, of course, artificially inflate their bulk. I run Shadow Pokemon, so even at -1, we're still able to output insane damage this time. We just missed out on the KO, the opponent re-switched stock himself, and this time we're just more than content to stay in. Kingdra still not done. YOLO's yet another Outrage, able to land, and if the opponent doesn't throw, we're going to reach the Surf too. Kingdra fires off the Surf. Kingdra got an absolute Rampage, able to secure the knockout. The opponent sends out, what is that? What the hell is that? Salazzle? We send out Lapras, the opponent probably going to recognise they're absolutely cooked, which they do, and they say GG's, and we move swiftly on. In the next battle, we see the regular Steel Penguin, and I think this one is objectively worse for me as the Incinerates aren't doing anywhere near as much damage. I'm not going to be able to fire off a Fly, because if it goes on shield, I doubt it knocks out, so we're going to YOLO the Brave Bird, guarantee our Protect Shield back. Once we do that, once again, make the pivot into Lapras and see what the opponent wants to do. It looks like the opponent this time is going to go for some chipping action. They fire off the Drill Peck. Drill Peck doesn't do much of anything. The opponent then sends out Como. Trainer, do you have a Death Wish? We run Ice Beam. We full send it Ice Beam. Almost a one-hit KO. We're able to sideway farm down. Absolutely every member on the team today getting on the big boom action. The opponent, are they about to go 2 for 2 and get a nuke through the shield? Yes, they are. Lapras, I take my hat off to your buddy. 2 massive nukes. This battle is absolutely over. Yet another very quick dub. GG's, and thanks for playing. I know it's been a while. I've had about 6 months off, but welcome back to the home of Shadow Pokemon, where this kind of shenanigans is a daily occurrence. Well, at least it's pretty much every video. Not they upload daily, but you get the point. In the next battle, we see some bird on bird action. The opponent fired off the Drill Peck bait. We go for the Fly bait, but let's be honest, that definitely isn't a bait as Fly. Definitely would have knocked out. It's just the Incinerates alone have done the majority of Tinkaton's HP. I recognise I'm not going to be able to Incinerate farm down. So I bank my energy, send out Lapras. Lapras unable to snipe, and the opponent sends out Typhlosion. Typhlosion going to be able to throw on CMP, winning CMP, and remove Lapras from the field of play. This Typhlosion is switch stock, so it's a beautiful opportunity to send out Kingdra and look to start loading up on energy. The opponent going to have to set off a non-stab Thunder Punches. To be honest, Shadow and Shadow Crime, it does do a decent amount, but Kingdra more than content to tank one. We overfarm, fire off the Surf, able to remove Typhlosion from the field of play, and the opponent sends out a Zekrom. We're able to reach the nuke, and we are full sending. Does the opponent respect the damage? Boo. Unfortunately they do, but don't worry. We're going to give the opponent that wham, bam, combo play, serve at the Big Mac and the fries. That Brave Bird's supposed to be resisted. Someone forgot to tell Zekrom. We Incinerate farm down Zekrom, Incinerate farm down Tinkaton, and we take that game. In the next battle, we have found ourselves a problem, and its name is Ampharos. This time, I opt to say switch into Kingdra, which is arguably my only answer, and just try and make something happen. But as far as this battle's going, we're not looking too hot. So far, it's looking like kind of RPS and very much not in my favour. Kingdra going to reach one further Surf, but unfortunately this Surf won't quite be lethal. And even when I get back switch advantage, I'm not really sure that helps me either. Despite Ampharos, hitting both my Pokemon was super effective. A Shadow Incinerate and of course Shadow Psywave or any charge move is going to do a lot. So I guess my path forward is just spam the fast move button, tap the screen like a raving lunatic and try and get off as much Incinerate damage as possible. If this is a Trailblaze, which would be double resisted, I'd be in huge trouble because they would be boosting up their attack. Thankfully, they fire off the Brutal Swing, which is survivable. I fire off the Brave Bird, and that's intentional. Now, the next Volt Switch with a debuff defense would knock me out. I think my play here is going to be to double shield, try and fully Psywave farm down, and hope we can just nuke whatever's in the back. Is that possible? Potentially, but we're going to be super low. These Volt Switches are absolutely savage. Oh, we don't even farm down either. Oh, that was an absolute beatdown. We've landed some booms. Sometimes we get our ass kicked. It is what it is. We have fun either way. Heading into the next battle. This time we see Seismitoad in the lead position. A non-stab Icy Wind isn't all that threatening. Yes, we're going to be debuffed, but you think Talonflame cares about debuffs? Probably not. The opponent actually sends out Licky. Far too thicky. I retreat with all of my energy and send out Kingdra. The opponent YOLO the Shadow Ball, which is probably the nuke. I see your nuke, trainer, and I raise you mine. I return fire with the Outrage. Outrage leaves a dent. Licky might be thicky, but clearly Kingdra says, you, sir, aren't thick enough. We soft lose this mid-game matchup, but that's perfect for me, as it's going to allow Lapras to get an energy lead. We've already got 80 energy on Talonflame. Now we're going to have energy on Lapras too. The opponent only reaches the departing body slam that does absolutely nothing, and out comes Corviknight. Both me and my opponent hanging on to 2 Protect Shields. Lapras gonna fire with a Sparkle Aria that also goes unshielded. The opponent then make a pivot. We tried to make the CMP sack, and I think that's actually worked out. Although I did hit the wrong button. Why am I not Brave Bird in? Jamie, you potato. Even that fly, though, did crazy damage. There is the catch of the Earth Power. I attempt to incinerate farm down. Recognise I'm not going to be able to get it. I'm going to fire off the fly. Fly, able to land. We get off one further incinerate. Miss out on the next fly, but this game definitely looks over. I'm never shielding this first move. Trainer, payback me if you want. Of course, to go for the air cutter. Fishing for the boost, which they don't get. Lapras gonna fire off the first Sparkle Aria at this point. The opponent really needs to shield everything. I've still got 2. This is probably an air cutter, but sometimes better to be safe than sorry. The opponent actually YOLO the payback, thinking, is Jamie Finn gonna shield flex? Nah, trainer. We're here to kick your fucking ass and pick up that dub. We should at the next air cutter reach the double charge moves. You know the drill. The first one will be forced to Protect Shield, and the second one is gonna be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we need the Shadow Kentucky Fried Chicken Bird of Death into the Jellyfish. Definitely not what we want to see. I'm going to throw 2 Incinerates, bank some energy before making the pivot into Lapras. Last time we was able to overcome a Jellicent lead, so hopefully we can go 2 for 2 against this very tough lead for the team. My last opponent made my life very easy, saving Jellicent for Talonflame when they arguably had decent answers elsewhere on the team. This one stays in, recognising they don't have to go for the U-switch, I-switch, and I lose almost all of my Lapras. We have at least managed to get them below the half health, but much to my disappointment, Lapras essentially just used as the damage sponge. I send back out Talonflame, not wanting to reel my third yet, fire off the fly. Fly goes unshielded, quick switch into Kingdra, and able to Dragon Breath snipe. Out comes Tinkaton, and this is probably why you shouldn't always go for aggressive snipes. And now switch lock myself at the mercy of this Tinkaton. Although we're able to force the first Protect Shield, which is very, very nice for me. The opponent then gets the Bulldoze debuff again. I'd probably say advantageous for me. Well, it depends how you look at it. They will get less farm if they commit to a full Fairy Wind farm down, but evidently they are not, as they throw on CMP, and this is like a best case scenario. Switch timer pops up and make the quick switch into Talonflame, and out comes a shiny Moltres. I've only revealed Fly yet, and this time I'm forcing the Brave Bird. Brave Bird able to land. Bang! There it is. Shout out the Go Oxford U for that quote. And just like that, we're able to return to winning ways. Heading into the next battle, we find ourselves playing against one of my friends, and we're actually kind of RPSing. Well, this is more of a neutral matchup, but that is one of the best leads you could ask for. I think I definitely should have went for Kingdra in this mid-game, as Feraligatr would be forced to go for Crunch or Ice Beam, whatever the second move is, to do any meaningful damage, as opposed to against Lapras, where they're just going to be spamming out Hydro Cannon after Hydro Cannon. If I would have went into Kingdra, I don't think Switch Advantage would be all that important, but as I went to Lapras, I kind of need Switch, as Kingdra isn't particularly good into Sandslash. My opponent fighting for Switch Advantage. Am I going to 2-shield and be super basic? Oh god, yes I am. And I never like to go down Protect Shield, and this battle is a prime example of why you shouldn't. Out comes Tinkaton, and I am in massive, massive danger. Tinkaton, much like Moltres we showcased yesterday, with an energy and a shield advantage, essentially claps everything. Kingdra going to be straight in and straight out. I think it's safe to say I very much see the writing on the wall in this battle. I send out Talonflame. My opponent throws at poor timing. Ironically, if I was opting for Flame Charge, which of course I don't have, I would actually win this battle, as Flame Charge, double super effective, would be a one-hit KO. I show the Brave Bird that, of course, isn't going to get the job done. A Sandslash going to fire off the Drill Run, and this one is going to end in not heartbreaking defeat. I'm actually more than content to lose to a triple Shadow team. GG's to my opponent. In the next battle, we see the return of the Steel Penguin lead, much to my disappointment, the regular variant, which is worse for me. We probably survive a Hydro Cannon. Not well. So I'm going to invest the first Protect Shield, throw one Incinerate, once again a YOLO that Brave Bird, and see what my opponent wants to do. Brave Bird, force my Protect Shield back, we make the pivot into Lapras, this time baiting out Venusaur. Have no doubt, we're going for that kill shot. YOLO instead Ice Beam, guarantee the final Protect Shield, or remove Venusaur from the field of play. We force the final Protect Shield, and I'm more than content with that scenario, gaining an advantage here in that mid-game matchup. Frenzy Plant, of course, easily knocks me out, and you will notice this is a Purified Venusaur, and the golden rule on the channel is never lose to a Purified Pokemon. Venusaur fires off the sludge, the opponent then go for the wham, bam, combo play, send out the Steel Penguin. I invest the Protect Shield, shield up the Hydro Cannon, going to throw one Incinerate and the Fly, and at this point we're at 100 energy. So the opponent shields once, we can just throw back-to-back Fly, able to knock out. The opponent waiting out the switch clock, trying to potentially make a catch. Are they able to do so? I see Florges enter the arena. We are YOLOing that Brave Bird, monstrous damage. The opponent is able to Fairy Wind farm me down. If they've got Moonblast, they're going to win. Do they have it? I highly doubt it. Everyone's a basic bitch running the baby, boring moveset of Trailblaze plus Aqua Tail, as this opponent is. Trailblaze, able to land. The opponent can look to snipe with Venusaur. I anticipate that play. Fire off the Surf, so we don't take the Vine Whip. Surf knocks out Venusaur. We resisted. Dragon Breath farm down Florges and take that game. In the next battle, we see Torterra in the lead position. A fantastic lead for me. The opponent saves switches into Feraligatr, and this time I make the adjustment. Last time I said, when I see a Feraligatr, I should go to Kingdra, and that is exactly what I do. The non-stab Ice Beam actually quite a lot of damage, if I'm being honest, especially though a regular variant, not even the Angry Alligator, but it doesn't do as much as the Outrage. Outrage, a very easy one-hit KO. Back out comes Torterra. I wasn't entirely sure I'd reach the Outrage, so I settle for the Surf. That does hit for neutral as grass, does resist water, and ground, of course, does take super effective. I aggressively send out Talonflame, basing out Lapras. We're able to land the Brave Bird through 2 Protect Shields and reach a Fly 2. Once again, Talonflame putting in so much work. Heartbreakingly for my opponent, they end up throwing on CMP, and they are depleting their energy. I can now enter the mirror, and this game is completely over. I'm just going to commit to the full Psywave farm down, of course. Save my Protect Shields for potential Stone Edge or Frenzy Plant from that returning Torterra. Speaking of Torterra, it re-enters the arena. They go for the Sand Tomb bait, but I've got a sneaky feeling that no bait will be saving my opponent's fate. Lapras fires off the Sparkling Aria. The opponent recognises they're not going to be able to win the match. Tank it through the Protect Shield, and we take that game. In the next battle, we see an absolutely fantastic lead, and once again, a Feraligatr safe switch, again answered with Kingdra. Kingdra, more content to tank an Ice Beam. Ice Beam does do a lot, but very easily survivable. Again, YOLO the Outrage, and see what the opponent wants to do. Outrage again, able to land. Everyone's expecting Swift, nah, trainer. This, my friend, is a good, correct version of Kingdra, running the 2 nukes. Kingdra still not done, and you can actually see what Surf does for Kingdra this season. It actually enables you to land decent damage at stuff like Tinkaton that in theory should hard counter you. The opponent sends out a Zygarde, yet another Brave Bird, able to land. You absolutely love to see it. This team is so basic. I don't know who come up with it. It's the second time we've seen it in this video, and both times we've been able to land that big Brave Bird. Zygarde thinks it's thick, but Shadow Talonflame like, fuck you Zygarde, you aren't thick enough. Shout out to whatever content creator produced this boring team. Evidently, my team hard counters it, and my team's objectively more fun, if I do say so myself. The opponent fires off the Outrage. Outrage, able to land. Talonflame has 2 Protect Shields, 2 high beyond, gets the resisted Incinerate farm down. My opponent doing themselves no favours whatsoever. Throw on alignment, go for the Bulldoze bait. This one could be the big move. We're going to shield it. Better to be safe than sorry. We are running absolute circles around this basic bitch. Sorry, not sorry. Demonetize me on YouTube. I don't give a shit. GG's, and we're moving swiftly on. Heading into the final battle of today's video, we see Ampharos in the lead position, and we're trying to make an adjustment. This time, we're just going to sack my lead and pray we're able to do something against the backline. We tank the Brutal Swing, YOLO the Brave Bird, force the Protect Shield, and we send out Kingdra. Kingdra can tank any one move, as long as we don't get randomly Dragon Pulse. That'd be brutal. Thankfully, it's just a Brutal Swing. I'm not messing around. We're just going to fire off the Surf and look to move Ampharos from the field of play. Down goes Ampharos. The opponent sends out Dust Noir. Then make the pivot into Moltres, banking their energy. I'm going to fire off the Surf. Surf able to land, and that's actually very, very good for me, as I now only need to throw a Sparkling Aria with a few resisted Sideways along the way too. Of course, Dusknoir does have access to Dynamic Punch. With that in mind, logically, the opponent's going to try and force a Protect Shield or do big damage, much like I do. So I correctly shield the Brave Bird. My mate's calling me. Why? Why are you calling me now, bro? I'm trying to battle. Back out comes Dusknoir. I fire off the Sparkling Aria. Sparkling Aria able to land. Trainer, what are you doing? I'm not complaining. We make a catch. Was it necessary? Probably not. We catch the Shadow Punch bait, Sideway farm down, and we're able to take that game. And that is just about going to wrap things up for yet another crazy and chaotic showcase on the home of Shadow Pokemon. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you'd like your battles featured on my channel, the link to our battle submission form is down below. I would absolutely love to shoutcast some spicy Shadow stuff in Master League. So you're going to be playing, get them battle submissions in. I'd just like to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.